I mean, dead aim, which is going to be a Cat 3 or Cat 4, but it's got a broad spectrum all the way from you don't know where it's going to land. And it's going to have,
Yeah.
on the dirty side, it's going to have repercussions back to Ocala and Gainesville, Jacksonville. It's going to be there hasn't been a bad, this is only like, the seventh named storm. We haven't had a real bad one yet. And they say the water is getting hotter and hotter and teeny. Warm water is what you don't want when you got a hurricane, Shane. You know that.
Yep.
Well, we do have an open date, and I want to get your thoughts about all the highlights and lowlights. I enjoyed watching some of the performers, even though the defense was dismal. I mean, come on, how do you give up 240 yards rushing to Mississippi State? Tempo, whatever it was. But I liked the play of some of the youngsters I've been waiting to see. I mean, he didn't score, but how much better could Maiden Mizell played on that one play? That was a fabulous play he made there.
Yeah, he's a guy I've been wanting to watch play for over a year now. He's a guy that's explosive, can run, makes people miss, and that's what you want as a receiver if you're a quarterback. And I don't know what's taking so long to get him on the field.
That's my question to you.
I have no idea. I wanted him to play last year. I wanted him to start this year.
Yeah.
Don't know why he hasn't been out there. Can't get that. I have no idea.
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's a lot of things we don't know about this program. Full scale, some really brutal comments last couple of weeks now on the program. And I know we've all kind of kept stiff upper lips, and we've all tried to give Billy a shot here, but became evidence to all of us here 2 weeks ago. This train wasn't going anywhere. And I think you look no more closer than the defense. And Franz had a really brilliant column this morning about the changes in the defensive staff in the past 3 years, which let him deal with it later. But it's just been, I don't know. I don't know. Answers are hard to come by. Shane, you're on record as saying you had no problem with the offense.
I was on that was leading up until this season.
Okay.
There's three phases to a football team, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Offense, defense, special teams.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at last year's 5-7 year,
Mm-hmm.
special teams was atrocious. Defense was historically pathetic. Offense was the best part of the program. Was it explosive? No, but they played well enough to win games. And so leading up to the season, I guess I was drinking the Kool-Aid. I said if the defense can, but I've been saying for 4 or 5 years now, seasons are determined by your front seven on defense here.
Yep.
Not been very good. Okay. But leading up to this season, I'm like, if we added new coaches, we added multiple players in the portal. If we can just play average defense or a little above average, that's when I thought we could win a bunch of games. We can't play defense. Nothing's going to change. You are what you are. And that's what we are. Whether it's coaching, scheme, players, whatever, it's a bad combination, and we're just not very good on that side of the ball at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Bruce Green says Billy plays favorites. I don't know that I agree with that. I just don't think he's.
I think they play. Look, I don't know what their plan is. I'm not in meetings. I don't ask or any of that stuff.
What's your opinion, though?
We play way too many players. I've been saying that for years. I am not one who wants to rotate players. I don't care who they are, how much they're getting paid, where they're from. Are we worried about losing a kid to the port? I don't care. The bottom line is to play your best players and try to win the football game. And once you're convincingly ahead, then you can play some other guys. But nobody comes out of the game if you're a starter unless you need a breather. And you shouldn't need a breather unless you're a wide receiver running a bunch of routes.
Let's talk about the quarterback. So that was a highlight. What was it? They were almost perfect. They only had about 3 incompletions and 500-yard day. Graham Mertz was brilliant. I think it was against Mississippi State. I grant you, but and then DJ Lagway looked pretty good in spots. Give me your assessment of the two quarterbacks, and it looks like the majority of the snaps will go to Graham Mertz unless they start losing. What do you think?
Well, I mean, if you're trying to win the game, you're going to play Graham Mertz. I thought both quarterbacks played really well. They threw accurate balls. We called a different game. It's very similar to the Sanford game, and I don't know if it's because they saw on tape how. Buddy, take nothing away. I said this on my show today and on Steve Russell's show. Mississippi State, that team is the worst SEC team I have ever seen in my life.
Really?
Worse than the Vanderbilt teams. They will be 35 to 40-point underdogs the rest of the year. They're like a 38 or 39-point underdog this week at Texas. They're bad. There was a bad situation. They're going through a coaching change. I think Jeff Levy's a good coach. I think they'll be fine in a couple of years. He's got to get players in there, but it's a bad football team. And we needed to do what we did, and we did it. We still gave it way too many yards and points defensively. You can't shut anybody out in today's modern day football, but we can't get off the field ever. And the yards after contact are disturbing. I guess I got off a tangent there. Back to the quarterbacks. I thought they both played really well.
Yeah, they did. There's going to be more. I got to say that I was really glad to see Jaden Ball get out on the field. He's been my guy, as you know, since spring game. I love the way he runs, the power he's got, the speed he's got, elusiveness, actually, for a big guy. And I think he looks like a promising back for the future. Montiel didn't have a great game. Now, Trayon did have a nice game. He did get some scoots in there. But again, we're talking about who. So did you see any improvement in the offensive line?
I mean, it's hard to say. I thought they played about how they did against Sanford. They had the quarterback time to throw, but I'm just going to say it like I really felt it. And what I saw is Mississippi State is a bad team.
It makes you worried that Tennessee might score 100 on you.
Well, they could. I mean, so could Texas. I mean, look, we got to play. We're playing some explosive offenses coming up here in the next few weeks.
What's ahead?
Yeah. So all we got to do now is try to worry about trying to find a way to beat UCF in 2 weeks.
Who'd ever thought we'd have said that?
Well, they got a good football team.
I know 3 years ago we'd have said that, right?
Yeah, but I mean, it's different now because they're in the Big 12. They're a Power 4 team, just like we are. And they got good players. I mean, they're leading the country in rushing. Now, they haven't really played anybody other than TCU, but they play Colorado this week. We know all the hoopla that'll be out there for that game in Orlando. And then they got to come to our place. So could there be a letdown, which is hard to say, a letdown coming to Gainesville?
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that. I think those kids play.
Well, here's the thing. UCF is coming to town. This is the moment they've been waiting for.
Yeah.
They have a chance to strip Florida from its last piece of dignity, losing to them and taking away their.
Well, they beat us last time we played them.
I know, but Florida has been the big daddy of the Sunshine State for years.
Yep.
So now they're number one in the country. You said 375 yards a game, Shane. Malzahn's got him going on. What's he doing?
He's doing what he does. I mean, he ran the football like that at Auburn. He's a good offensive coach. He calls his own plays. And, I mean, KJ Jefferson's not a great thrower of the football, but we had trouble tackling him last year. So it's going to be a tough challenge for us. I mean, we're probably got to score 40 to have a chance to win.
Yeah. We'll get to some of the big games. Well, there's only a couple, but certainly Georgia's one of them. I understand that playing Sweet Home Alabama at Georgia's practices.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. We'll see how that goes. So cover that later. The UCF game, by the way, is a night game, 7:45 p.m. on the SEC network. As one fan said, we've even drug UCF down solo. They're on the SEC network,
Actually, SEC Network crew, I think is the
So
best.
I think they're pretty good.
It's the
Chestatoro, yeah.
best, one of the best crews that
But I mean,
covers.
it's not like ABC, CBS, whatever, So I get what you're saying, though. Yeah. Well, all right. So Justin Hatton said, "Can we stop blaming the personnel and admit that this Sun Belt creeper defensive scheme sucks, and Napier is too stubborn to change it?"
Well, there's nothing you can do about it now. But here's what I will say: I understand fans' frustration, but you've had four different defensive coordinators, right?
Yeah.
Three under Billy, one under Mullen, and we've been horrible on defense. We have not had great talent on that side of the ball. I don't care. Nobody will convince me otherwise. I think Jason Marshall Jr. is an NFL player. I think he's played really well this year. A couple other guys may get invited to some camps, but I don't. My eyes tell me it's not great. Now, whose fault is that? That's responsibility of the coaches. But it's hard to get great players if you're not winning football games.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, I mean, the problem is an open date's the time we just so to try to fix things and adjust. I don't know where Billy's going to go with this. He's already moved Ron Roberts upstairs, by the way. Or he said they agreed he should go upstairs. I mean, how many defensive coordinators does he have to have?
Well, again, there's only so much you can do. It's not like you can invent a new defense.
I know, I get that.
Defense is about being gap sound. And when you're in the gap and you're facing the damn running back, tackle him. Don't get run over or don't miss tackles. But there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
We've had zero pass rush the entire year. Zero.
Yeah. You're right. And no tackling was not exactly great this time around either. So
they had like 129 yards after contact running the football. I think they did.
Well, what was all the talk up there in the press booth, and what were people talking about off the air, and what was I know you want to get a W, go home and try to get healed up, but how much did this do for the program, Shane?
Wow, Jaden Daniels is throwing it all over the ballpark. I think anybody that was at that game, even people at Mississippi State, knew they had no chance of beating us because of how bad they are. My buddies that I tailgated with before the game, they said we're the worst team Mississippi State's ever had.
Really?
And I have to agree with them now after watching it.
Yeah. So where does Billy go from here?
Try to find a way to beat UCF. That's it. I mean, look, I don't know if we can win another game. We may win 3 more games. I don't know. But, we are what we are defensively. If anybody thinks it's going to change, it's not going to change.
Well,
because here's the deal, buddy. All you can do is you can change and you can play a 8-man front and play man coverage.
Or you can blitz or whatever.
Yeah, you can blitz, but when we blitz, we can't get home.
No, I know.
Okay, but as a quarterback, I want you to blitz us, because that just allows one-on-one coverage. So, as I've said, Florida always has had guys. We had Jonathan Grenard, who had a good year under Dan Mullen back whenever that was, 2017, 2018. The last dominant defensive player we had, and somebody probably can correct me, was Dante Fowler under Will Muschamp, who's actually still playing tonight for the Redskins.
Yeah.
Okay. There has not been any other dominant front 7 players that I can think of.
Yeah.
And that's a problem.
Yeah. All right. So Chris wants me to tell you, if I didn't, about Franz reporting over the weekend that both Spurrier and Urban would be agreeable to talking about helping the transition of the program if Billy goes. And that was a story that Franz had. They both have said to our sources that they're behind the program, they're supporting Billy, but ask if they would help in transition, not in a full-time job capacity, but would they be willing? And the word is they would both be willing.
And what would they do is my question.
No, let's do a scenario like that. We just asked the question was asked, would you be willing to sit in an advisory capacity in the transition of the new coach and so on? And they acknowledged through other sources they would be, but they want to make sure they understand they're not undermining Billy. He's on, but they would help any way they could. And I would say in my researching and talking to people, we're talking about an advisory capacity where you just say, all right, let's go. Billy's gone. The UAA is not going to let Scott Strickland hire the coach, without doubt. The boosters are going to hire the coach, the big money guys. They need to have somebody to sort of guide them. They're talking about who the 4 or 5 guys are, and they need to use the resources that we have. 2 of the greatest coaches ever to coach college football at Florida are saying, yeah, if called upon, I'll be glad to help. I think that's significant because, let's be honest, it's a very small room. They're not going to have a bunch of people there. So I've even heard people's names mentioned, heard your name mentioned even.
What am I going to do?
I don't know. So if they could make a staff, change, and this is, Shane would be great to work with the quarterbacks. I mean,
but here's the thing is, let's say that did happen, but there's nothing I can do with the quarterbacks before the UCF game or before the other. I mean, Coach Spurrier
Billy gets fired. Billy gets fired.
Well, but my point is okay. Let's say you got fired tonight, and they say, "Hey, man, we need somebody to come coach the quarterbacks for the next." Mm-hmm. You're not going to be able to change because here's the thing that I try to explain to people, and I'm not saying it wouldn't happen, but nobody between Urban and Coach Spurrier neither know any of the terminology that is being used.
I hear you.
In the building, and you can't change terminology.
I hear you.
I guess the old guys, the Urban, however old he is, and coach at 79 would have to learn their terminology to use that to coach. And it's something that they've had the same terminology their entire coaching career. I just don't see how that can possibly happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm glad my name got brought up, but I don't think you can. I mean, I guess you can because the Colts did it. They had brought Jeff Saturday from TV, and he was the interim coach the last few games for the Colts a couple of years ago. So I guess anything's possible.
Alan Colt wants to know what you thought about Saban's comments that you can't on game day. You can't keep firing the coaches. It's all the fault of the fans and the administration.
I don't. Well, we talked about that a little bit on, I don't know if it was Steve's show or my show today, but I thought Saban said something that there's deeper problems at Florida in the athletic.
He did. He talked about how that it's not just the players. And he said it's not just the coaches. He said the coaches, coaches, and I said, it's the whole program. It's they can't keep hiring people. It's the program. He blamed everybody but the player, but the coaches.
Well, I think it's a combination of both. Bo Bounds, who does talk radio in Mississippi, was on my show, and he doesn't understand how you can go through 5 or 6 coaches in 12 years or however many it could possibly be. He said there's a bigger problem there than with everything Florida has to offer.
Right.
You shouldn't be having that kind of turnover for whatever reason.
I got you. Shane, now I got to read you something real fast. I want to get your response to it. And then I want to bring on a guy who wrote it. But I also want to first go to our get our sponsorship on here and get our guy and pay homage to our sponsors, as we like to do here, if I can only find it. You know how to find all your stuff on yours, friend Shane? Yet you go looking for stuff. Here it is. Here, hopefully, let's see. Yeah, no, it's not there. So I'll just tell you about it. It's our good friends Meldon Law. They're fine folks who want to help you take part. Oh, here it is. Hold on. Let's talk about the band and Jeffrey here. So stand by. Didn't mess around. You did something terrific for the Florida band, man. Tell me about it.
Well, about 3 years ago, our dear friend Freddie Wiebe comes to us and said, the University of Florida won't buy the band a box truck to move their equipment around in. And when they go to Florida State, they go to Jacksonville or whatever, they don't have any, they have to rent trucks and stuff like that. So we collaborated and we put together a deal where we provided them a beautiful big box truck, and we wrapped it and with Meldon Law and the UF band. And by the way, the UF band was voted the best band in the country in August of 2023.
Well, there you go. Yes, he did. And Jeffrey Meldon, he's there for a law as well. Check him out, Meldon Law. Have the 4 lake coaches to serve you. Ocala, Gainesville, Lake City, and Wilson. Meldon Law, they won't back down. I'm getting a lot of people asking me, Shane, about this hat
tonight. Your hat?
The hat, yeah.
There you go.
Where'd you get that hat from, buddy? Where'd you get that hat? Where'd you get that hat?
I know somebody.
Yeah, well, I do.
Maybe you should take orders for hats, buddy.
Okay, we could do that. I'll just tell them to get in touch with me, and I'll get them at the right person. We have to, Shane, we'll have to say it. We'll have to order something. So whatever, it takes a while. All right. So, folks, if you want, I'll even give you my email address, buddymartinshow@gmail.com. If you want to buy a hat, they're not cheap, by the way, as you can tell, but they're the best. And we know a guy can get you them. If we got enough orders, we'll put one in. All right. Let's go talk to this guy who I thought had absolutely nailed it on this. Let me read you something to you, Shane.
All right.
I read this. I thought this guy knows what he's talking about. 2 seasons ago, Billy Napier's first year in the Florida job, the game was finished 12th of 14 teams in the SEC total defense, 411 yards per game, and 129th out of 131 teams in getting off the field on third down. Patrick Toney was the defensive coordinator just a week or so ahead of the spring practice 2023. Toney left to coach the safeties for the NFL Arizona Cardinals. Then days after Toney's departure, Napier hired Austin Armstrong as his DC. Armstrong spent 2022 as a DC at Southern Miss. He was set to coach linebackers for Nick Saban when he got the call from UF. The 2023 defense finished 11th in total defense in the SEC, 382 yards per game. The improvement of 29 yards. Gators finished 6th in the SEC. Third down, 36 nationally, 93 places better. At the conclusion of 2023, secondary coach Corey Raymond and D-line coach Sean Spencer were fired. When Mike Elko was hired as the head coach at Texas A&M, he hired Spencer to coach his D-line and poached Jay Bateman from the Florida staff to be his offensive coordinator. Raymond was replaced by Will Harris from the Chargers. Spencer was replaced by Tulane's Gerald Chapman. Napier brought on Auburn defensive coordinator Ron Roberts to replace Bateman, naming him as co-coordinator with Armstrong. It was thought to be a brilliant move since Roberts is Armstrong's mentor. It has not been that. That was written by Franz Beard. I thought he absolutely nailed that. Until he put it in that perspective, I didn't really realize how they screwed that up. Great job, Franz, and thank you for that.
Thank you.
Good work, Franz.
Well, thank you, guys. Remember Miles? Do you remember the Nike commercial with Jordan? It's got to be the shoes, Spike Lee. Well, I'll make an analogy here. It's got to be the coaches. Got to be. These guys, we can talk about all we want to about personnel. Well, I look back through the recruiting stuff. All these guys got offered by people like Auburn and Georgia and Alabama, people like that, where they have been known to play a lick of defense occasionally, sometimes more than occasionally. In Georgia's case, anytime they play the Gators, especially. And is it all on the players? Well, the players aren't playing well, but how well are they being coached? What's the scheme? Everybody in the whole world seems to know what the Gators are doing scheme-wise. Mississippi State, which averaged 97 yards a game and 3.29 yards per carry, ran the ball for 240 yards against the Gators. They ran off 90 plays. They had 23rd downs. They converted 11 of them. What does that tell you about if the coaches can't figure this out, then we got a serious problem here. And what it tells me is if the Gators are going to win any more ball games this year, they're going to have to, the offensive line is going to have to play lights out, which they haven't done. Mississippi State, you can't say they played lights out. Mississippi State's terrible. But they're going to have to play lights out because we got two quarterbacks who can do the job. We got receivers that I think are as good as anybody in the country. And we got excellent running backs. But they can't do it if somebody doesn't block for them. And by gosh, somebody's going to have to block because it's going to take all of our skilled people and our quarterbacks to win shootouts because I don't trust our defense a lick. I don't know about you guys. Tell me if you guys.
But we need to hire an offensive coordinator, right? I still get that every day. I'm like, people, have y'all not watched the Gators play football the last 3 or 4 years? We can't stop anybody on defense. y'all were supposed to laugh at that.
No, I understand. So,
okay. Okay.
I mean, has anybody on these comments, buddy, tonight said we need an offensive coordinator?
oh no, I mean I heard that a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. Everybody, look,
Yeah.
Billy could call better. I think he called a really good game the other day. People get tired when we run inside zone. They don't have a problem when we run inside zone and we get 10 yards though. We're not. I mean,
I do have a problem, and somebody I know really well, who's an admirer of yours, said, "I hear Shane talking about this, and it bothers me when he says it." He says, "I have zero problems with Billy's game he called because this guy says he kills a rally. He'll have a great couple of calls, and he'll call a play that makes no sense whatsoever."
But buddy, I'm not saying Billy's the greatest play caller I've ever seen.
I know.
I'm saying I don't have again, I'm gonna go back to last year. Special teams was awful. Defense was historically pathetic. So there was no problem with the offense. Could it have been better and explosive? Absolutely. You look at this year, we've played well in 2 games offensively against 2 really bad opponents. But defense is still an issue. But everybody keeps talking about we need a better play caller. I don't get that. I mean, are you not watching the same football games I'm watching? Could play calling be better? Yes, at times. Not every play is designed to score a touchdown. Not every play is going to work. The other team does have some scholarship athletes. They're going to stop you every now and then. But we cannot. I keep saying I don't think we can get any worse on defense, but maybe we can. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. I think they are what they are, whether it's coaching, players, combination of both. I don't know how we're going to stop anybody.
I'll throw this at you, Shane. In 2022, we averaged 29.5 points a game. If we could have gotten off the field, we were 129th in third down defense. So figure if we could have gotten off the field, let's say a third more than that. You think we could have scored a couple more touchdowns? We'd have averaged probably 35, 40 points a game if we could have done it. Last year, well, let me see what it was last year. Last year we averaged, 28.4 a game. Could we have gotten a few more points if the if the other team hadn't run, let's see, as many plays as they did? Probably. This year, we're averaging 31.8, but the other team so far is let's see, total offense. The other team's run 299 plays in 4 games. We've run 234. What does that tell you? We could score more points if we had the football.
Yep, no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, you don't need to shut people out. You just need to make a stop here or there.
Shane, here's the problem with what we're talking about. You say people, we say people don't understand it is the offensive coordinator problem. Remember, you played for a lot of teams that didn't have a great defense, Shane. Spurrier had some really good teams that didn't have a great defense. His best teams did, but his offense was enough to overcome it.
No, he I don't have stats in front of me. My eyes tell me, and I watched as many games as I could when I wasn't on the team. We had dudes. You look at his 12 years, we had a lot of NFL players.
They didn't have good players. Sometimes they didn't have a great defense.
I'm going to have to disagree with that because I have a hard time.
He had a great defense 12 years that while he was coached.
He had way above average and damn good defense in my opinion.
Above average, I said a great defense.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's. I mean, I don't look at great I don't mean a great defense. Nobody plays great defense anymore. Even the great Alabama teams didn't play great defense. But I'm going to have to disagree. I think Spurrier had really good defenses every year he was here.
Well, you said really good. My point is
really good, great, whatever term you want to use. They were not pathetic. I will say that. He won 9 games every freaking year he was here minimum. So you had to have good defenses.
Well, I'll give you a good example. Take 1991. Now, I'll go with Shane on. Now, there were a couple years when I thought the defense. 93 when we had the choke at Doak. That was
well. Coach would tell you too. He didn't call a good game either. He got too conservative.
You got it. And 2001, I was not sold on John Hoke. I really
I'm with you on that.
But just I thought we had the personnel to play a whole lot better in 91 than what we did. Let me see what in 2001, 91, probably the greatest defensive game ever played at the Swamp was 14-9 over Florida State. And Shane, you know those folks at Florida State. So a lot of those folks, very, very.
There were so many NFL players on the field for both teams in that game. I mean, but I don't even remember 2001. I thought that was one of Spurrier's best teams he had, right?
From an offensive standpoint, it was true.
But if they don't have play Tennessee late in the year and but I look, he didn't have any teams that played defense like we've played the last 4 years. None. Yeah. I don't remember anybody having defense like that.
And here's the problem. The last 2 years and 4 games have made it look like 3rd and Grantham was a desirable situation. And here's the thing. Let me just give you an example. Everybody complains about Todd Grantham in 2021, and the Gators gave up a good number of points, but their defense their defense in 2021. Let me tell you where they were total defense in the SEC. 2021, Florida finished 8th in the SEC, 367.8 yards a game, which is better than any of the last 2 years and 4 games.
Certainly. Let me put this up. I want to talk about it because I agree with him. This isn't, I mean, Shane, how do you go out there against a terrible defense and you defer on the kickoff? take the ball and score, right? In that situation, I think.
Well, yeah, but it worked out. Mississippi State went 3 and out.
It didn't work out, but I mean, to me, I don't know.
But then you got the ball in the second half, and we
Don't
went
you
down.
want the ball sometimes, right? I'll make a statement. Sometimes.
I mean, yeah, I don't. I mean,
you do, Shane. You know you do.
I know, but I also want the ball starting the second half.
I got you, but still, I think I agree with Perry Mason on that. I thought that when it happened as well. All right, so they're not gonna fix the defense. I mean, what is this creeper defense anyway? I don't even know. Sounds like the zone blitz to me, whatever. But it just hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. I was having a real conversation with Urban today about something else. We talked about defensive coordinators, and you guys have heard the plan to win, right? Have we heard about the plan to win? And one of the basic principles is get the best defensive coaches you can get and pay them more money than the offensive coaches. Make your statement, So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's Billy's judgment. I don't understand how you can make so many mistakes. But all right, so guys, where do we go from here? Shane, I know we're going to open day, then try to win a game. But realistically speaking, Shane, you said the whole time you thought Florida State was a winnable game. This is before they lost all those games.
Yeah.
And
well, I thought that because of their quarterback. I was never high on Florida State before the season.
Oh, you weren't.
They lost a lot of good players, and the quarterback can't play. So that's a winnable game, but that's so far down the road. We can't worry about that. Got to find a way to try to slow down UCF.
You're not willing to look at it like, okay, they're going to win 4.
I'm at the point now. I'm getting out of the prediction.
I get you.
I mean, I predicted us to win 8 games this year because I thought we would be better on defense, and I was 100% wrong. So I'm not worried about what's going to happen. Whatever happens, and hope we find ways to get better. And I just don't know how you get better. You hear all these coach speak, not just from our team but other teams too. You can't really get better during the middle of a week of game week. I mean, I maybe I'm wrong. I don't agree with that.
No, you don't.
You are what you are.
You are what you are. The only time during a season you got a chance to get better is during a bye week when you've got a chance to make wholesale changes to personnel and implement something new. Because the rest of the time you're just game week, you film on Monday, you hit on Tuesday. Only we don't hit it Tuesday and Wednesday. But supposedly you hit on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday you run a semi run through. You take everything you learned during the week and put it together in a game plan. And then Friday you have a walkthrough and a travel day. There's no chance. This is the only chance they're going to have to get better. And I don't see how they're going to get better.
Well, usually the only way when you make changes is you got to put different people in there to see if they can make plays.
Yes, that's right.
Because my eyes tell me we don't have a whole lot of playmakers on defense right now.
Yeah.
It's sad, but it's true. And I think we've got some pretty good linebackers. Okay. But I don't think that they have much of a chance because the guys up front are getting blown off the line every single play. When you got a 6'5",
big show tomorrow morning.
So Franz, I would like this stat. Let Buddy know so he can tell me tomorrow morning. In the last 2 years, I guess we'll stay in the Napier era. Don't even worry about the last year Grantham. How many times have we sacked a quarterback in the last 2 years and 4 games?
Well, we had 23, 22, that's 45, and we got 5 this year. So we've had 50 sacks total in 3 years. Grantham in 2019 had 47 that year alone.
Well, is that when we had Jonathan Grenard?
That's when we had John Grenard. We had had pretty darn good defense. That 2019 defense finished, I think, 6th in the country, second only to Georgia in the SEC. Let's see, I'll tell you how many sacks they had that year. But I'm sure it was 47 sacks.
And you don't have to always sack the quarterback, just affect the quarterback.
Yeah. We had 49 sacks in 2019. We had 35 in 2020 in the COVID year, and we had 37 in 2021. Since then, let's see, we had 23 in 23, 22, and this year 8. I don't know how we got 8.
I think they're mostly against Stanford.
I don't recall. Yeah, obviously, I don't recall. I think they may have had 3 Saturday. Yeah, they had 3 Saturday, and they had 4 against Stanford. But they had 1 against Miami, and that was just a total breakdown in the back. You know, their back went one way when he was supposed to hold in, and that's the only reason Cam Ward got sacked.
Okay, I gotta get you out of here. I'm sorry.
All right, good stuff, gentlemen. Y'all have a good night.
Wait, Shane. Quick comment on Billy Horschel winning the BMW PGA.
Yeah, that was awesome that Billy got that done. I didn't really follow it, quite honestly. I didn't know
they were playing it.
Yeah, it's over in Europe, so.
Yeah, he didn't get picked for the President's Cup, but he beat McIlroy for the championship. All right, here's the last thing. Do you guys admit you drank the Kool-Aid?
Oh,
absolutely. Shane, you admit you drank it?
Do I admit it?
You drank the Kool-Aid?
Yeah, I already said I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong.
Got a point here. I drank the Kool-Aid. You know what? Everybody drank the Kool-Aid because I went online and looked, and if you go to try to buy a Kool-Aid, orange Kool-Aid at Amazon.com, sugarless, they're sold out of orange Kool-Aid. No wonder Gator fans drink it all, okay? It's really sold out. Just a little stat for you there, Shane. It'll make your day.
All right.
All right, buddy. Take care. Thank you, Shane. Good job. As usual, see you in the morning, buddy. He's the host of Pot Up with Matthews. We'll be joining him tomorrow. Friends, let me tell you folks about TitanMRI.com, our fine sponsor. They make it easy for you if you need an MRI. Let me tell you, we have a lot of people online tonight. Many of you will live in the North Central Florida. By the way, hope you're all going to be safe tonight. I'm packing my bags and heading somewhere, probably east. We'll see what the forecast is tonight. And I hope you're going to be all right. Franz, you're on high ground as well. But I just wanted to say that if you're in the area in the next couple of weeks, you need an MRI, you got to listen to what I'm going to tell you. Titan MRI will do their very best to make it as easy as possible for you to get an MRI there in the Gainesville area. And if you can't be there during the workday or you want a special weekend or night, they'll custom make an appointment for you. If you don't have insurance, you can pay with cash or card. And if you have a problem with claustrophobia, they have some bigger MRI places you can go. They're very aware of the fact that many of us get claustrophobic. I encourage you, go to TitanMRI.com and find out why Franz goes there, because he's claustrophobic just like me. Francis, I got to tell you, it's been a rough couple of weeks. And, it's sometimes.
It's not going to get easier.
And I wrote this column over the weekend about why do we care so much? Why do we care? Why can't we just let be a season? And why can't we just enjoy it as a spectator? But no, we can't do it that way. And one of the reasons is, as I wrote, is that's how we grew up around this. You talked about how we've been since the Civil War, how our crops are, basically crops that people wanted to throw away, like black-eyed peas and different things, and how basically we're poor in the South. But the thing is that one of the things we've learned is the succulent taste of great food and fruit grown in our own dirt, in our soil, and certainly in Florida, citrus is one of those. My point being that Gator fans since 1990 have tasted the sweetness of championships. So they know better. It doesn't taste the same as orange Kool-Aid. And so they just expect it. And that's why it's so painful. And you can't quit. You can't quit. You can say you quit, but you never quit. So it's a hard thing to be a Gator fan right now. And I don't know.
Well, buddy, your dad was like my dad. My dad, my two grandfathers went to their graves waiting for next year to finally arrive. And next year never did. My dad died in 1986. And he kept waiting for next year when the Gators finally won an SEC. He thought we had one in 84, and then Marshall Kreiser, like an idiot that he was, and I will call him that because I think he ranks with the worst presidents we've ever had at the University of Florida, to have surrendered as he did to the rest of the SEC. And I blame Vince Dooley. Just one more reason why I despise the Georgia Poodles. But all these people, we waited for next year. I wondered.
Hang on.
I was 38 years old and wondering if we'd ever win one. And along came Stephen Orr Spurrier. We should have won it in 1990, best record in the league. And we did win it in 91. And it felt righteous. And I got to tell you what, it felt righteous for 4 consecutive years, 93, 94, 95, and 96. We won 4 in a row. Did you know, a lot of people don't know it, Nick Saban never won 4 in a row. Bear Bryant never won 4 in a row. And yet here are the Florida Gators, the wait till next year team, winning 4 straight SEC titles. And you're right. It felt so good. It felt righteous. I think that's just a good word. I love it. That's my word of the day, buddy. Righteous, because that's what it felt like. Because we had been burned. We had, we're there in 66, and all of a sudden the Gators lose to Georgia. Oh my gosh. We're there in 69 and we tie Georgia. How did we do that? How did we tie them? I mean, we could have still won the SEC, even though that John Reeves had thrown 82 interceptions against Auburn.
National record.
It's a record that'll never be broken. I don't even remember how many.
I saw them out. Bill Cody got 2 of them.
Well, yeah, and he was from Orlando Boone, which makes it even more disgusting. But just the same. It's, and you mentioned something earlier. Yes, we live and die with our team and with our teams. And I think there is a loyalty here in the South, not just at Florida, but I use Florida because I'm a Gator. But we have a loyalty to our teams here in the South that they don't have up north. I promise you, they don't have up north. You and I have been to Ohio State. Game day on Ohio State, and it's wonderful with the Ohio and all the other stuff, and everybody going, oh, hi, oh, and all this crap.
Well, as fans,
and yet,
here's the great thing. We have fans who know everything. Like Stephen Bell, who wants to pick a fight, by the way, and about this again. How many times do we have to go through this story again before people understand?
Well, oh, come on, Stephen. You're talking about stuff you don't, you only know half the story. Half the story. They had the contract signed and he reneged, and we let him renege. Give me a break. Nobody was wrong about that. Give me a break.
Well, he got his pound of flesh in there, so there you go. Thank you for that, Stephen. Appreciate it very much. Now go to crawl in a hole. All right, go ahead.
Back to what I was saying. You and I have been up there to Ohio State for a game and at the Horseshoe, and they got great fans. But you know what? They have a touchdown. Everybody goes like this. And then they go, oh, hi, oh. And everybody said, and yet you come here and you leave this place. If you've ever sat out in those stands, you leave this place and you can't hear for 2 days. Your voice, you can't speak for 2 days. And it's like that all over the South, with the exception of Vanderbilt. And, you know, one of these days they're going to understand that you don't bring grapes and Chardonnay and brie cheese to a tailgate. You just don't do it. Sorry, but you don't. You know, I got to tell you what, it's different here. And we love our teams. And if you're a Gator, you know what I'm saying. We love our team. And the fact that we've had success and we know it can happen here. We know you can win SECs. We know you can win national championships. We know you can be in the hunt on a year-to-year basis for national championships. We know that. And that's why it hurts so bad to see the program in the decline it's in. And I hate to use that word, but that's what we are in. We are in a decline. And, you know, Nick Saban, God bless him, brought it out Saturday on game day when he said 4 coaches and about to become a 5th. In fact, he didn't say that, but you know that's true. He said, at some point in time, you got to understand, it's more than just the coaching. At some point in time, you got to look at what Jesse Simonton on On3 wrote last week when he said, maybe we ought to look at cleaning out the entire athletic department, starting all over again, because something's wrong here that goes beyond Billy Napier. Maybe it's time. Look at what Danny White did up at Tennessee. First thing he did, he gets up there at Tennessee, and what does he do? He fires everybody. If you had a connection, I think if you had shaken the hand of Phil Fulmer in the last 30 days, you got fired. I mean, it was that bad. Some people said, oh my gosh, our program, he's devastated it. 3 years later, they did something that no Tennessee team has ever done. They finished ahead of Florida in the Directors' Cup. Tennessee. They won the SEC in basketball. They won it in baseball. They finished, they won 10 games in football. My gosh. Look what's gone to Florida. Meanwhile, we got a basketball.
Well, let's talk about that for a second.
Last
couple of minutes we got to go. We got basketball going around here. And by the way, they're recruiting like crazy. Talk about it.
Well, Todd Golden is having a meeting of the media, and we can watch practice tomorrow. Can you imagine
How do you
that?
do that?
Holy cow!
That'd be strange.
Now, well, basketball. Todd doesn't have a problem with us watching practice. Steve Spurrier never had a problem with us watching practice either. Son of a gun, But we're going to see the tallest team in the country. The tallest team in the country, the Florida Gators. And the perimeter guys are good. This kid they picked up from Florida Atlantic, Elijah Martin, is an absolute beast. I'm telling you, he is going to be running the point this year. He was the guy that led them to the Final Four 2 years ago. He's a tremendous player. They picked up this kid from Slovenia who gets on radar lock when he shoots. He's a tremendous three-point shooter. Denzel Martin is going to surprise everybody. And then they got Walter Clayton Jr. and they've got they've got Will Richard back. Florida's set, and then you look at the big guys that they've got, and they can.
Don't forget Denzel Aberzine, my favorite name.
Oh, I love that name. But when you think about this, I had breakfast with Todd Golden back during the summer, and we were talking about Olivier Rio, who is the 7'9", 300-pound freshman. And he said, what are your expectations for him? I said, I hope he is a 5x5x5x5 guy. Todd looks at me, he says, what's a 5x5x5x5 guy? I said, 5 minutes, 5 rebounds, 5 block shots, 5 fouls. Todd looks at me, he says, if he does that, we make the Final Four. Because, you look at this. Florida has got, get this, buddy, Florida's got 30 fouls to give that are at least 6 feet, 10 inches tall. 30. You win a lot of ball games when you can do that. Question down here below, how about the Twins? Right now, I like our odds getting the Boozer twins out of Miami, Christopher Columbus. The big one, 6'10", can really, really run the floor. They're the kids of Carlos Boozer, who was an All-American at Duke and played in the NBA. And the other one's a point guard, and the two of them together are just absolutely tremendous. Todd Golden's building a program the right way. You look at what they did the first year. If Castleton doesn't break his hand the first year, they end up making the NCAA tournament. They made it last year. Got a tough matchup in that first game. And they had an absolute worst. I don't blame games on officials, but I want to tell you what. The official in that game gave the game to Colorado. Florida should have been in the second round. The official misses, blatant call right there at the end. The guy forearms our guy, shoves him off, then hits the shot that wins the game. How did that happen? It doesn't happen if the official doesn't swallow his whistle. And I got to tell you what, I'm hoping and praying this year that Joe Lindsay somehow or another has to call games in Walla Walla,
we got a little
Washington.
time for a Walla Walla, Washington. Here's the deal, friends. I got to get up at 6 o'clock tomorrow and start getting out of here. Now,
where are you going?
This hurricane, which is dead aim for us. We're coming right to that window right there. It's heading right to Panama City. So, yeah.
Buddy, when we were kids,
we were kids. The water wasn't 5,000 degrees back when we were kids.
Hurricane Donna came roaring through, and we were tough guys.
It's not going to be more tough guys. I've been through one. I said I'll never do it again.
We were tough, buddy. You've become you have become.
Let me tell you who's tough.
In your old age.
My sheriff is tough. He's the sheriff here. Happens to be the son of my wife, Dawn. He has been through a lot, including Hurricane Michael. He says, buddy, get out of here. So when he says, get out of here, I'm out. So tomorrow morning, I'm packing my bags and I'm heading out. Where I don't know, but I'll watch the 11 o'clock routine here. So anyway, you be safe now, friends. Don't get too cocky, all right?
I'm fine, buddy. I mean, like I said, I lived through Hurricane Donna, and I can tell you about 500
hurricanes. I don't want to hear your war stories. I want you to get out of harm's way, okay?
I went through 6 months after the Hurricane Donna because I had a sister named Donna. Of every time people saw my sister, hey, it's Hurricane Donna.
I went to Key West, tried to go to Key West, didn't make it in 1960. And I got down there, I saw a railroad up in the air, twisted. The railroad from Donna. That was Donna. So I know about Donna. So
that was
all right, but listen, take care of your parents now, okay? Be safe. I'm gonna check on you.
Hey, buddy, drive carefully, be careful. Just remember if there's a Buc-ee's along the way, stop there.
Listen, every gas pump between here and Ocala will have a car on it. I guarantee you that. Already I-10 starting to back up. So I got to get out of here while I can. Franz, thank you. God bless you. Take care of yourself and your parents, okay? Great, Franz.
right, we'll
If
do
you
it,
didn't see
buddy.
this call
Take
today,
care.
you missed it. All right. Good night, Francis. Don't forget to subscribe to GatorBaitMedia.com and Franz Beer. All right, folks, I'm going to say good night to you. Thank you for listening and watching. Had a good crowd tonight. Thanks to Shane, who actually talked a little bit, didn't get quite so lost on Monday Night Football. And again, read Franz Beer's column. Terrific. I'm packing up. I'm getting ready to get out of here. Before I do, I want to tell you about our friends at Rinstar Medical Research. They've been great friends for a long time. Great people there in Ocala, to a company that's doing wonderful things for our health. You should know about them if you don't. They're trying to get you the answers you need about your health care, and they want to do it through clinical trials. If you've never been a part of one and don't know about them, you need to go to rinstar.net and find out. They've had like 800 of these clinical trials over the last 10, 12 years. They're looking for better ways to treat us, and they have these trials to find out what it is that we need more of. So I encourage you, if you want to be a part of this, you could help yourself, help them, and help us by being a part of these trials. If you get compensation for your time and travel, in some cases, you get investigational medication or devices. Go and sign up for the clinical trials of Rinstar Medical Research and find out why we say Rinstar Medical Research, seeking tomorrow's answers, the health questions of today. With that, we're going to say, God bless you all and have a safe night. Please get out of harm's way, and we'll see you when we see you. I don't know when that will be. Hopefully soon. Good night, folks. I must have left the door open.